March 14th, 2004, Stepping Hill Hospital, Stockport, England. A man in blue scrubs moves calmly through the cardiac ward at 2:17 in the morning. The corridor is nearly dark. The other staff are at the nurse's station. He is not. He stops at a patient's bedside, an elderly woman, 73 years old, admitted 3 days earlier for a routine procedure. She is asleep. Her IV line runs to a drip bag hanging quietly above her. He reaches up, does something to the bag, walks away. By 4 a.m., she is dead. The attending physician writes cardiac failure on the certificate. No one questions it. Cardiac failure is what happens in cardiac wards. It is expected. It is ordinary. It is exactly what someone would want a death to look like if they had caused it. His name is Charles Cullen. He is 44 years old. He has been a nurse for 16 years. He has worked at 10 hospitals across 2 states, and in every single one of them, patients died at a rate that no one could fully explain. How does a man kill for 16 years inside institutions built to preserve life? And what does it say about those institutions that they let him keep going? But to understand how we got here, we have to go back. May 22nd, 1960. West Orange, New Jersey. Charles Edmund Cullen is the youngest of 8 children. His father dies before his first birthday. The family scrapes through poverty in a cramped house where nobody has enough of anything. He is a quiet child, thin, unremarkable. He sits at the edges of rooms and watches. By 12, he has attempted suicide for the first time. By 14, it is not the last. He does not explain why to anyone. There is no one to explain it to. He graduates high school with no particular direction and enlists in the United States Navy. He qualifies for the submarine service. He learns to function in enclosed, high-pressure environments where precision matters and error is lethal. He learns to be invisible. He learns to wade. He is honorably discharged in 1984. He is 24 years old. He enrolls in nursing school at Mountainside Hospital in Montclair, New Jersey. He tells the admissions board he wants to help people. This is not entirely false. He does want something from hospitals, from the patients inside them, from the power that accumulates when a dying person places their life in your hands. He graduates in 1987. He receives his nursing license. He accepts his first position on a burn unit. Within months, a patient dies under circumstances that do not quite add up. No one investigates. 1988, St. Barnabas Medical Center, Livingston, New Jersey. Cullen is 28 years old, employed on the cardiac care unit, and already building a method. It is not improvised. It is not frenzied. It is surgical. He identifies patients who are critically ill, men and women already near the edge. He identifies medications that, in sufficient doses, push them over it. Digoxin, a cardiac drug. In therapeutic doses, it regulates the heart. In overdose, it stops it. The resulting death looks like natural cardiac failure. It looks, in other words, exactly like what a cardiac patient is expected to die from. He steals the medication from the ward's supply. Hospitals in this era use open medication cards. Nurses pull what they need and document it afterward. The paperwork is imprecise. The discrepancies, when they appear, are small enough to dismiss. He works nights. The wards are quieter. There are fewer eyes. A patient crashes and he is the first one there, performing resuscitation with practiced calm, arriving at the bedside seconds before the monitor alarms even sound. His colleagues notice this. They find it impressive. He must have sensed something, they say. He has good instincts. He keeps killing. By 1992, he has been investigated at St. Barnabas. A pattern of unexplained deaths has drawn internal attention. The hospital determines it cannot prove anything. They do not contact law enforcement. They do not flag his nursing license. They allow him to resign quietly. He carries his license across state lines and is hired at Warren Hospital in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, within weeks. The hiring committee asks for references. St. Barnabas provides a neutral reference, a date of employment, a job title, nothing else. And so the system passes him forward. His access to patients is complete. His colleagues trust him. He is described by supervisors as thorough, committed, and calm under pressure. He is. He is extraordinarily calm under pressure. He has never once been caught. But he is making mistakes. Small ones. Patients who should not have died given their condition. Medication doses that do not match recorded orders. A physician at Warren Hospital begins pulling records. He finds 11 deaths he cannot explain. He raises the concern with hospital administration. The administration conducts an internal review. The review finds nothing conclusive. Cullen is not reported to the state nursing board. He is not reported to police. He is allowed to continue. What happens when the institution designed to stop him decides its own reputation is more important than the patients inside its walls? What do you do when the system meant to catch the predator is the same system that has been feeding him? July 12th, 1998. Lehigh Valley Hospital, Allentown, Pennsylvania. 11:48 p.m. Cullen begins his shift on the intensive care unit. He has been at this hospital for 3 years. He has killed at least 15 patients here. The administration has noticed a statistical anomaly, a mortality rate on his unit that exceeds comparable wards at peer hospitals by a margin that a quality assurance officer has flagged in an internal memo. The memo is filed. No action is taken. The patient in room 4 is a 42-year-old man named Ottomar Schramm. He is recovering from a liver transplant. He is not expected to die tonight. 12:03 a.m., Cullen accesses the medication dispensing machine on the unit. He withdraws a vial of digoxin. He does not record it in the patient chart. 12:17 a.m. He enters room 4. 12:44 a.m. The cardiac monitor in room 4 alarms. Nursing staff respond. Schramm is in arrhythmia. The team works for 40 minutes. They cannot stabilize him. 1:26 a.m. Ottomar Schramm is pronounced dead. The cause recorded is complications following transplant surgery. His family is told the body rejected the new organ. They accept this. What else would they do? 3 weeks later, the quality assurance officer who filed the anomaly memo is reassigned to a different department. She is not told why. She will later say she understood the message. Cullen continues his shift. He cleans up. He signs out at 7 a.m. He drives home through the gray Pennsylvania morning and sleeps. He will kill at least 4 more patients at Lehigh Valley before he moves on. 2 states have now employed him. 11 hospitals have now employed him. 3 internal investigations have found reason for concern and done nothing. And Charles Cullen is not slowing down. He is accelerating. The most dangerous killer in American nursing history had just been handed another badge and another set of keys. What would it take to stop him? 2002. Somerset Medical Center, Somerville, New Jersey. The local newspaper in Somerville runs a feature on the nursing staff at Somerset Medical in the spring. There is a photograph of a group of nurses in the hallway. Cullen stands on the left edge. He is smiling. The caption identifies him as a dedicated member of the cardiac team. His colleagues like him. He brings donuts on night shifts. He covers extra hours without complaint. He has a self-deprecating humor that makes him easy to be around. He looks, in the photograph, like someone you would trust with your life. He is now 42 years old. He has killed somewhere between 40 and 90 patients. He does not know the exact number. He will later say this is a simple statement of fact, not as an admission of remorse. The institutional cover-up that has followed him from hospital to hospital has, by this point, calcified into something systemic. 9 hospitals have let him resign quietly rather than face the reputational damage of exposing him. The state nursing boards in New Jersey and Pennsylvania have received no reports. The police have received no reports. The families of his victims have received no reports. His victims do not become symbols. There are no protests, no songs, no graffiti memorializing them. They are simply dead, their files closed, their deaths attributed to the diseases that brought them to the hospital in the first place. And Cullen keeps going. But then, in October 2003, something changes. A patient named Jin Kyung-han is admitted to Somerset Medical. She is not critically ill. She is there for a relatively stable condition. Cullen accesses her IV. 2 days later, her digoxin levels are catastrophically elevated. She survives? Barely. And her physicians are baffled enough to order a full toxicology investigation. It is the first time a hospital has looked hard enough to see what was there. Cullen is not just a nurse anymore. He is a question that someone has finally decided to ask. November 2003. Somerset County Prosecutor's Office. Detectives Danny Baldwin and Tim Braun are assigned the Somerset medical case. They are not homicide specialists. They are general investigators. They have never worked a serial killing case. They have, however, worked enough cases to know when a hospital is not telling them everything. They pull medication dispensing records. They find that Cullen has accessed medications for patients not assigned to his care on dozens of occasions. They find that vials have been withdrawn and not returned. They find that the discrepancies go back months. On December 12, 2003, they arrest Charles Cullen in the parking lot of a Burger King in Raritan, New Jersey, after his shift. He does not resist. He sits in the back of the unmarked car and stares out the window. He says almost nothing. In the interrogation room, he waits. He asks for a lawyer. The lawyer arrives. And then, over the following days, something unexpected happens. Cullen begins to talk. He confesses to 13 murders. Then he revises the number upward, then upward again. He tells investigators he cannot always remember the names. He tells them he was trying to ease suffering. He tells them he did not always know why he did it. The prosecutors listen. They need his cooperation to identify victims across multiple states and multiple decades. They offer him a deal, no death penalty, life in prison. He agrees. In the months that follow, he helps investigators identify victims at 9 different hospitals. The total count rises past 40 confirmed kills. Medical examiners reviewing old cases from facilities where he worked begin to flag dozens more. The unofficial estimate among forensic investigators who study the records reaches 300 or higher. He had been saying goodbye to those patients before anyone knew they needed saving. Was Charles Cullen broken? Or was he something the system itself had built? March 2nd, 2006, New Jersey Superior Court. Charles Cullen enters the courtroom in a standard-issue jail uniform. He is 45 years old. He is thin. He walks quietly to the defendant's table and sits down. He does not look at the families of his victims seated in the gallery. There are many families. The judge asks if he understands the terms of his plea agreement. He says yes. He is sentenced to 11 consecutive life terms. He will not be eligible for parole. He will die in prison. Outside the courthouse, the family of Ottomar Schramm stands on the steps. His daughter tells reporters that she had spent 5 years believing her father died because his body failed. She had grieved that. She had made peace with it. Learning the truth did not give her closure. It gave her a different kind of grief to carry alongside the first. Inside the courtroom, the judge addresses the hospitals. He does not mince the language. He states plainly that institutions in 2 states failed their patients repeatedly and systematically by prioritizing self-protection over transparency. He notes that a single call to a state licensing board at any point in 16 years might have stopped Cullen far sooner. The hospitals do not face criminal charges. Several pay civil settlements to victims' families under confidentiality agreements. The amounts are not disclosed. New Jersey passes legislation requiring hospitals to report suspicious employee conduct to law enforcement and licensing authorities within 48 hours. Pennsylvania follows. Other states adopt similar frameworks in the years that follow. The legislation is named in part for Cullen's victims. Their names appear in the statute. It is the only public record that most of them exist at all. What Charles Cullen took from them was not just their lives. He took the moment their families should have had to say goodbye. Charles Cullen is currently incarcerated at New Jersey State Prison in Trenton. He has never sought parole. He has given limited interviews. In 2013, he spoke to journalist Charles Graeber for what became the book The Good Nurse. In those conversations, he maintained that he had wanted to help patients end suffering. He maintained this even when presented with victims who had not been suffering. He did not reconcile this. The hospitals where he worked still stand. Most have changed names or merged with larger health systems. The medication dispensing machines that gave him his method have been replaced across the industry with biometric verification systems and closed-loop electronic tracking that would make what he did significantly harder to repeat. Significantly harder, not impossible. The unanswered question, the one that the investigators, the prosecutors, and the journalists kept circling without landing, is how many people actually died. The official confirmed number is 40. The number he gave, imprecisely, was higher. The number that forensic investigators believe, based on mortality data from facilities where he worked, may exceed 300. Those extra deaths belong to no case file. No family was ever told. No one was ever held accountable for them. Charles Cullen proved a brutal lesson. The most dangerous place to hide is inside the institution that everyone trusts most. But Cullen is not the only nurse who turned a hospital into a hunting ground. In 1999, Orville Lynn Majors was convicted in Indiana of killing 6 patients with injections of potassium chloride and epinephrine. Investigators believe the true number may be closer to 130. He was caught not by the hospital, but by a single nurse who started keeping her own records and went to law enforcement
Here is
herself.
the log.
These entries
What
are
she
detailed.
Every
and
shift,
what
every
the hospital
discrepancy.
administration
critical.
refused to see is the story of how monsters survive inside institutions. Check out The Nurse Who Kept Count, the Orville Lynn Majors case. Because the most dangerous thing in any hospital is not the patient who is dying. It is the person everyone trusts to decide how they die.